Hello, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend. I'm back. It's Sunday, the 28th. I don't know, is it the 28th? It's the 28th. I hope everybody is well. Let me get my list going. I've got Regine for sure with 2. Got Fred L with 1. And I have Jen with 6. I think, wait, no, it was 5. 5. Let me see what we've got here. Hold on just a second. Sorry. Okay. Hi, Jen. I've got you on the list. I just want to make sure, see if anybody else is paid. Did you get? Okay, hang on. Okay. Yes, I've got you. Hello. Hi, Fred L. Okay, so we're a small group. We'll answer the questions. I like the little butterfly. I'll have to pull out my email for yours, Jen. It's long. Okay. How is everybody? Did everybody have a good week? Good weekend? So I guess if you want to start, I don't have any big, there's a lot of stuff going on with, we can ask questions later if you want. Oh my gosh, no, the email was so much better, Jen, really, like, honest to God, because I'll be able to find it and like go through it rather than because the PayPal one, it'll send me an email, but I can't imagine that it would have let you write this much stuff for 5 different questions. So it's fine. It's totally easy. So, hi, Lexi. It's good to see you. Or see you. It's been a while. We're having lots of nice warm weather. My girls and I, 2 of my daughters and I did our ice skating lessons this morning. So that was exciting. What do you want to know today, Miss Regine? What are your questions? Ice skating, it's fun. Like, I literally, so my instructor, her name's Janet. I was like, so Janet, I said, what am I doing? Like, cause I was trying to stand on one leg and like hold my other leg up. Right. And glide. And I was like, I keep veering. And so she was like kind of looking at him. We were talking or whatever. And she's like, have you ever done other classes? I was like, no, this is literally the first thing I have ever done. I was like, I didn't get to take anything when I was a kid. So she's like, okay. She was really nice. So then we stay afterwards and we practice, my girls and I practice what we learned in our classes. You want to go after Jen? Okay. Fred L, do you know what your question is? And I'll go ahead and answer yours because I also think that you're in a different time zone. I think you're way ahead of me. So you can ask yours. Wait, your question always getting more intuitive after? What does that mean? Sorry. Yeah, Jen has like 5. So I just thought, I'm wondering, just because this is a small group, maybe if you guys want to give your feedback. So I have my psychic development circle. I was thinking about doing like an introduction to what a psychic development circle is like. So like it'd be on a larger format, but to give people an idea of what to experience in it and charging and just doing it like a webinar type thing or, like a big Zoom meeting. and charging, I was going to charge like $22 for people to do that. And then they can just like, they can watch the replay of it or whatever if they want, if they missed anything. And then if people miss that, they can pay 11. Would you guys be interested in something like that? I was wondering if my guides have any advice on a situation professionally or personally. Which situation? Because personally, they may be like, well, let's look at your diet, right? And that may not be what you're really looking for. So can you elaborate? I try to make learning and connecting with your intuition affordable and not because I think that there's so many, I mean, I don't know. I just think that you can get a good experience without having to pay $1 million. And I get that we all have to pay bills. I have to pay bills, all of that stuff, but more professionally. I thought so. There may be an opportunity, but it's not clear. Okay. You have several guides working with you, just so if you're ever like, oh, like, like there's like a couple different ones and they have different perspectives of this. And one person is like getting the let out. Like, so basically, like, it feels like I have these ideas and these dreams of wanting to move forward, but I keep dragging my feet. And I'm not really like, I say I want to do this, but I'm not really doing anything to propel myself forward. And then another one is showing me that you're fairly rigid. There's like a rigidity about like being very much a rule follower and a stickler. There's nothing wrong with that. But it feels like it does sort of like being so rigid and black and white. It's getting in the way of, some of your professional connections, right? So they say things like, it's not always the best person that gets promoted. It's the like most liked person. And it's not that I don't feel like you're unlikable. So I want to say that. It's a feeling of the rigidity and black and whiteness might be ruffling your direct manager's feathers. Meaning, I think that you notice better ways of doing things, or like, oh, if we did do this the way it's supposed to be done every time, we wouldn't have all of those problems. But it feels like they slack a little bit in following policy and procedure, more so because it makes more work for them if they do. I don't know if this resonates at all. You completely understand that. So sort of what they're looking at is like, do the things that you need to do to propel yourself forward, and um, sometimes it's important just to learn to get along. And it's not about being a people pleaser, just like it might have to irritate you that things aren't done perfectly all the time. So, real intuition versus guessing or coincidence, there is no such thing as coincidence. If you ask anybody who does readings, it's like there's a reason you're getting that information the way you're getting it. The reason why I teach you the way I teach you is because like literally people don't realize how easy it is to connect with your intuition and how natural it feels. That's why people ignore their intuition, because they're like, well, that's normal. But it's not. Like, I mean, I'm saying like it is normal, and it's like what you have to like connect in with. Um the more you do it, the more likely are, like, it took a long time for me to just say, like, this is what I'm getting. And there's still times where I'm like, well, this seems logical to me, but it's not always. If that makes sense. Like, how would I know that she's having a hard time with rigidity, but it seems like a normal thought, right? Um, Sometimes you're the best person to give the message because of the experiences you've had. Like, you're 3 steps ahead of that person on the same path, and that's what they need to hear. And you are used to pass that message along like a vessel. I think people think that intuition oftentimes is like some big ooh ah thing, but most of the time your intuition is very quiet, it's very subtle, it's very quick. Hello. Hello, elegant Evelyn. And also, like, this is like, my circles are like a jumping off point. You can always rejoin them and you'll get more the more practice you do. Maybe I'll put something, if I have enough students who would want to do something where we just have a like a practice circle where you can drop in when you want. But I have to have enough people who are willing to do that, to create that. Because if I just have 8 people and they want to drop in when they want, that leaves me sometimes with 2 people, and that's like not a circle. So it would have to be like a sign up ahead of time, I guess. Um, and then you could continue to get more practice. And that's the thing, is even when you, like, I was a certified psychic medium, I was still trying to figure it out even after I was certified. Like, that was after, like, I think that was after like 9 months of classes or something. So it's not, this is not something that you walk in and you're like, okay, I know it, I'm good. Like, it is a continual growth process. I think that's why I love it, because I literally am changing and growing, like, continually. It is not something where I'm just like, oh, I know it all. Like, I'm still learning, I'm still growing, I'm still seeing how things are. Like, it took me, I had already been doing this for like 14 or 15 years before I started doing self concept work. And then realizing that once I did the self concept work and really started to just trust myself, my intuition stuff grew too. Yeah. And I want to maintain the safety of the circle as well. Like, yeah, just where people feel comfortable and connected. Um, okay. So I hope that was helpful, Fred. You got it, and thank you. Okay, so now Jen will answer some of your questions, and then, um, okay, hold on just a second. I've got some more. I want to update the list really quick. Just got Jessica. I have your 3. Elegant Evelyn, when you paid, did you pay for the butterfly one or the one with my picture on it? Because the butterfly one's my other account. That's not my business account. I'm trying to group everything separate. Okay. Let me find. Okay, that's fine. Please. Okay. Let's see. Regine, I'm going to leave you on here in the front, but you don't know what you want yet. And then we've got Jen with her 5. And then I'm putting you as Meg. Because it's weird to call you Elegant Evelyn. And then Jessica. Hang on. For her 3. And y'all weren't messing around today buying your questions. Okay, so let me find your email, Jen, and we will start with that. Okay, when do I sense I will When do I sense that you will see Matt again in person? Can you sense the next few times or periods where there is an increase of time together? We do not see each other this weekend. And then there was another question. I'm going to answer that one first because I think this kind of goes along with it. It's the next one was with the kids getting together. I feel like the kids will get together like the weekend before Memorial Day weekend. I feel like you're going to have a get together then with them. I feel like that might be the next time that you see him. I mean, that's only 2 weekends away. Right? 3 weekends away. It feels like there's another time before that that's like an hour or whatever, and I do feel like I have to say over the summer, you're gonna spend a weekend with him. Like, I don't think it's just gonna be nothing. You asked another question that was like, will he be dating other people, and I don't feel like he's really. If he does go on dates, it's like 1 or 2 dates. It's nothing ever comes serious with it. There's no one genuinely that he has the same connection with that he has with you. I just feel like, again, he's working on himself. He's sort of working out his own self-concept stuff. Like, I really feel like he's doing that. I feel like he's working out like where his belief systems come from, how he fits into the world, how he wants relationships to look, like why he's having his own issues. Because I feel like the stuff that you had issues with him, a lot of it honestly carries over. It's the same issues that he's had in other relationships. And I feel like he's taking a step back to go, what do I need to fix here and fix in me? That's like, because he's noticed patterns within himself, right? And I do feel like things speed a little bit more along over the summer just because you'll have a little bit more time together. I see a baseball game. I don't know what that means, but so that was 3. I don't see him wanting to be super engaged with other women. You watch baseball together. Okay. And I genuinely feel like you didn't see each other this weekend because he's busy and there's just a lot going on. And I feel like it's around his kids. I don't feel like it's like, oh, he's going out and dating a million other people. It just feels like busy with kid events. Immediately when I read, does karma change schools next school year? I feel yes. I don't know what this means by I keep getting it's next door. It's next door. Like it's not far from wherever you're at. I feel like it's smaller. So are you looking at does she need like a smaller classroom size? Like it's just I feel like the classrooms are smaller. It's a feeling of like allowing her to focus more. Does she get distracted really easily? Oh, she's in private Episcopal school or Catholic school. Um, I'm asking this because it's almost a feeling of being in like, I'm not saying she necessarily has special needs, but it's like, does she have so many sensory issues that she gets distracted by being in a larger classroom? ADHD. Okay. So I feel like maybe she's like when she gets put into public school, and so maybe when you move, it becomes like it's next door, like you're living right next door to it. It's a feeling of like I'm in a class with like maybe only 8 kids, and not because she's not academically able to keep up, but it's like there's so many distractions that it's like she needs a little bit more focus. That's the feeling I get. So, I don't know, like, I can't tell you like, "Oh, you're gonna move." It just feels like wherever the school is, it feels like it's next door to wherever I'm living. Like, I don't feel far from it. Do they have a program like that at their school where they would have, like, a smaller, more self-contained type classroom? And again, I don't feel like behaviorally she doesn't fit in there, academically she doesn't fit in there. It's just there's so many distractions that it's an accommodation she needs for now. I feel like she'll grow out of it and do better as she gets a little bit older, but it just feels like for now she needs a little bit more. And it might not even be, I feel like math specifically, but it might not even be like for every single class. She might be gen ed for other stuff, but it feels like there's an area of her where she's pulled. I feel like if she so when I heard yes, I don't feel like she's going to do poorly. I don't feel like she's going to um struggle. I have to tell you, I don't feel like you're going to make that full decision until about July because I don't feel like you'll be, I'm going to say this. I don't feel like he's going to move closer to you. I feel like it would be you moving there. So the feeling I get is you moving up there. Um, and somehow it's like you're right next to the school. So I don't know. And I feel like she would be happy about it. Um, she wouldn't feel like upset. I feel like, and I also feel like she'll make friends easily. I just feel like integrating into the school, they may want her in a little bit more self-contained. It might not be every class, by the way. It feels like, but I do feel like there's a feeling of having some self-containment. Did y'all see those terrible storms in Oklahoma? Yesterday when I saw some stuff going up, I kept seeing there was going to be some like even more like where there's a whole bunch touching down at once. So I don't know if that's what ended up happening. And I also saw something weird in the middle of the night where I saw like I think it's Delta. There's gonna be a plane thing with Delta. Because all I could see was the plane on the runway and there was some kind of debris or something next to it. Like, so I don't know if something else crashed or like what, but it's like, so I'm telling it here. But it was something with like, and I think it was Delta because of the way I saw the symbols on it. I don't know what everybody else's symbols are. It's not United or JetBlue. Could be American Airlines. Just something like where it looked kind of like triangles. That's why I think it's Delta. I think it's Delta. Um, sorry. Back to my one. Sorry. Of the 3 questions regarding Matt, do you see is still making steps towards me? I do still see that. So I don't see that that's changed. So hi, Julia. I don't see that that's changing at all. That's why I said I still feel like there's movement in that direction. I just feel like he's working on himself. And that's like a good thing. You want someone who's like very self-aware and willing to look at their own stuff and their own patterns and their own behavior. Because I feel like I have a sense of him being really um, again self-aware and willing to look at like what kind of patterns have I created and how are they hindering me or how are they helping me. Hi, Joelle. Hi, Jessica. I got your payment. Yeah, so I don't see him like just about facing. So this is where manifesting SP comes in point and like changing your mindset and stuff. So instead there's like no doubt at all. It's just like, nope, this is gonna happen. We're together. I'm not worried about it. Like to reaffirm and get rid of that like worry little hamster brain that we get, that goes in circles of like, um 2 for you and 1 for Joelle. Okay. I do feel like he's really happy kind of taking this slow and like really kind of reevaluating and seeing, um, did he mention to you that he's like doing therapy or something? What do I see for 4 and 5? Sorry. I feel like I was like, did I get them all? Sorry. I randomly, when I was waiting for answers, just started talking about this thing I saw about the airplane. Okay. I answered the one. 4 was the one about karma with the schooling and anything you should be aware of. I feel like she might get into like a self-contained area for part of her, like maybe math. I do feel like she'll mainstream in other areas. The CEO. Okay. I think that you'll take it. The extra work. I don't think it will. My sense is that it will not at all interfere. It feels like there's enough of it. Like, so I know, like, it's like maybe you're worried about like a no compete clause. It's interesting because it feels like there's enough of a distance between the two that like it doesn't really matter. So like when I first became a psychic medium, now I don't even think this matters anymore because Stephen passed away. He's my mentor and he opened the school up and stuff. But there was, when we first got out, we agreed like if we were going to take the title of being like a certified psychic medium or whatever through their own certification thing, that we couldn't host any kind of circles or teaching of abilities within like 11 miles or something like that of Manhattan. Now I'm like 15 miles outside of Manhattan, so like, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway. But so that's like a no compete. And I feel like there's something like maybe there's like a 50 miles. And it feels like whatever it is, it feels like there's enough of a distance that it doesn't matter. He's super private. Matt's super private about therapy. But do you know if he is doing it? Like, there's this feeling of I'm working on myself. Like, I don't feel like, so like, how there's a lot of stuff out on, I mostly am on TikTok, but on other platforms too, where they're talking about, have you seen the thing where it's like, where women are saying they'd rather be left in the woods with a bear than with a man? And like, like when women ask their husbands, like, would you want your daughter to be left in the woods with a bear, a man? All the men are like, a bear, because they're like, well, who's the man? They're like, we don't know. We just know he's a man. It's like a bear. We don't know anything about either. We'd rather, right? So it's this feeling of him like being aware that this stuff is out there and never maybe seeing it that way before and going, oh, maybe there's some stuff I have to look at here. Like I feel like he actually looks at stuff like not like if that kind of stuff comes across his mental path, he actually processes it and looks at it instead of like, nope, not me. You can't be mad. It's not all men. Like he's not like that. I feel like he's like, oh, I never really thought about it that way. Um, he bought NF concert tickets in Sacramento weekend of June 8th with intention of Matt going with me, see him going with me or having to sell the tickets. I just remembered that weekend. I have no idea. You have no idea if he is. Okay. I did sense a feeling of like rigidity and like not moving, like he was like not going to move. I still feel like he's sort of aware of that stuff. He researches. So that's somebody who's not necessarily fully rigid, just not fully open. And some of that not being open comes from like not being able to share his emotions or open up that way as a kid. It wasn't safe for him to do that. So it's not like he's like, keep out, right? Like it's more just like, this is my habit. But I feel like he's genuinely working on that because he's seeing that also having that habit has plateaued where his relationships can go. Like they hit this like peak and then they're just kind of because they don't grow anymore from there and it stalls out. And so it didn't just happen with you. I feel like he would be open to going in June, but I also feel like he's going to be like, but it's his friends. Like, and you have to just be like, yeah, totally. Of course. Like going with just genuinely like, I enjoy spending time with this guy and I'm not like, you're not trying to trick him, right? It'll turn into more, but I feel like the intention is like, he wants it to be like, we're friends because he doesn't want to just jump back into old unhealthy patterns. Okay. Got it. Okay. I think I got all of them. Did I get all of them? Did I answer them all? Let me just make sure. It also feels like the more you relax about it, instead of needing it to be a title or be a thing or where are we going? Because that was sort of like what he ran from. It's like the more you're just like, let's just, I enjoy spending time with you. Hey, I bought these tickets. Would you want to go? And don't be tied to it. Like literally just be like, but in your head, be like, of course he wants to go. Of course we're going. It's done. It's a done deal. But like to him, just be like, yeah, like, because that's how manifesting works. Hello, Rathka. I think that's it. Okay. I really encourage you to look at Love Coach Kayla on TikTok because she's got, I mean, it's like she's good. So I like hers. And I also like, who was the other person I liked? I think I told you about them already. Let me look at her because she's really about self-concept as well. And she's on YouTube. And Kim Velez, that's who it is. Came to me before I even had to look it up. I really like Kim Velez. Okay. Kim Velez. Mm-hmm. She's on YouTube. I think it's Valez. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna I'm since I just made that, like I made that, sorry. I made that video for you, the meditation for the group. I'm gonna start making some more to post on here around affirmations and self-concept and stuff like that because um just to listen to, like you can listen to them as you fall asleep or during the day or whatever, uh, because I really, really think that they work. And so I'm gonna just do that. Okay, so Regine, do you have any questions? Yes, you can have yours. So you want to first a general, and then I'm gonna get to Meg or do your second one. Okay. Um, I heard you're about to pop off, but then I saw it like I'm like what? And it's like I saw a champagne bottle popping open. So it feels like getting ready for a big celebration. And I do feel this is around your business stuff, like around your growing that. So did you put in an offer on a laundromat or did you take the first steps towards that? Because it just feels like celebrating something around that. And by the way, I think you'll still be doing that and working at the doctor's office for a little while. I don't think that you're just fully going like straight in. Um, so it feels like it's going to happen really soon then, because if they're showing me as like popping off, like if they're showing me that celebration, it feels like it's going to happen really, really soon. Um, and I feel like once you make that offer, it just takes off. I also feel like as much as there's a learning curve for you, it feels like you'll settle in pretty easily and quickly. You do have really, really good customer service skills. Excuse me. And I also feel like you'll form a nice bond with. There's like feels like there's a woman that maybe already works at the laundromat, and I feel like you just maintain her and keep going. Like she um, doesn't lose her job, and you hire somebody new. I feel like you're just like, no, I'll just take them on, um, and she's very grateful for that. She's a really good worker. She feels a little bit older to me, kind of like a grandma age, honestly. Um, and I genuinely feel like this is May. Like I don't feel like we're that far out on this one. I just feel like you just like it just kind of all starts to happen for you. They said at first you might feel a little bit of like a deer in headlights, but it's like you adjust very quickly. I just need to turn my heater on. I'm a little cold here. Sorry. Give me just a second. It's just right here. Sorry for the annoying beeps. Um, it may be even that you're buying the laundromat from them. What is going on? It may even be that you're buying the laundromat from them, like a couple, like an older male and a younger, and her and his spouse, and that she just wants to keep working there. I'm not fully because there's a feeling of a couple. Did you have a second question, or do you want me to move on to? I've got Miss Elegant Evelyn. Where's my typing? Oh, so annoying. Hang on. You're gonna wait for the second one. Okay. Um, Meg, your question is about selling. So I said I felt like you're gonna do in um, 3 weeks, and I feel like it's gonna be above asking price. I feel like let's see. I feel like you're gonna get a couple offers, and that's what's gonna push it above. Who knew you would be a real estate queen? Moves the same amount as I moved when I was in college. And she like redoes the places and they're gorgeous. And then she's like, oh, I gotta move again. It's not, this isn't it. Like if you could see like the houses she does are so pretty. She's actually on she's on Instagram if you want to see the houses and the way she decorates. They're so pretty. Channeling Elegant Evelyn on Instagram. You can see stories and she shows all like the apartment she's selling is gorgeous. And it's very like Victorian-esque. I don't know if that's right. It's got pretty wallpapers and it's very feminine and elegant. It's very pretty. Anyway, don't want to see him. You want to be nosy. But you move so much. I'm always like, oh my God. Like, maybe you just like the process of doing that. Maybe you should become an interior designer, something. Okay, why can I not think of your Rathka on here? Sorry. Okay, so now I'm up to Jessica, your 3 questions. I know 2 are for you and 1 is for let me change that to 1. And 1 is for Joelle. And let me just hang on. Let me put Rathka in here. Let me just see if oh, that's it. Okay. Okay. So Jessica or Joelle, if you guys want to ask your questions. What is my purpose in this lifetime when it comes to jobs, careers, and path? I feel very lost. I'm gonna say it this way. First of all, there is no like when people are like, I have a purpose and I know it is. Like if you look at me, you'd be like, your purpose is definitely to be a psychic medium. Well, but I also feel like my purpose was to be a mom, and I feel like my purpose was to be friends to specific people, and I feel like my purpose is to be just this person that I am, and to learn who I am, and to love who I am, and to be a nurse. And maybe I won't be a psychic medium forever. Like I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna always have these abilities, whatever. But like, I think this idea that we get sold that we have a purpose was sold by somebody who wanted to sell a book. Like it feels like snake oil to me. So the minute you can move out of this, like, I'm not fulfilling this life purpose of mine, maybe it's just that you're not drawn to anything that you've done. That's fine. Like you don't feel a deep connection with it, but that doesn't mean you haven't, right? It's not purpose. Like truthfully, if you look at like manifesting, law of assumption, that our beliefs create our realities, and we do create our realities, then the idea that we have to do anything or there's a purpose for us to do anything is hogwash. Because you can do anything. And there's nothing like this idea of like the universe, if the universe wants me to, like the universe is just fulfilling orders. Like genuinely, there is no like, oh my God. The only thing I think that we are really supposed to do is learn to reprogram our brains and learn to love ourselves. And in turn, when we learn to accept and love ourselves, and it doesn't mean you, like when I reprogrammed my self concept, doesn't mean I go, I'm totally perfect and there's nothing wrong with me. It means like I'm good enough just as I am, and I'm not perfect, and I'm a work in progress, and I'm still lovable and deserving of kind words and speaking kindly to myself. And when you do that, when you get to that point, does it mean that you're never triggered? No. Does it mean that things don't ever come up? No. But it means that you glide through them a little bit easier, and also you give other people a little bit more grace. Okay. That said, I'm going to ask it a little different way to get an answer for you. So I'm going to ask it in a way that's kind of like, what would you feel more drawn to, or where would you feel more fulfilled? What area would you feel more fulfilled in? So when I'm connecting with this, I'm seeing you in like, it feels as if you're honestly owning your own business. I don't feel like you're working for somebody else. And it feels there's a lightness and an airiness about it. And there's also something kind of creative about it too. But I don't feel like you're just creating on your own in a home, because I feel you in a space and connecting with other people around this creativity. I don't know if that resonates with you at all, but that's what I feel. And it feels like it could be either like, I mean, it's almost a feeling of I'm in, I don't know if they have these, or you're in Sweden? Do they have like paint and sip places, or like where somebody goes in and paints pottery or art things? That's the kind of feeling I get. Is like I have a place where people come in and get to be creative in my space. That's the feeling of something I see you doing, of like running your own space where people come in and they are able to be creative. It could even be that like maybe you do it like you have a thing where people learn to bake and whatever, but it's like that there's a creative aspect to it, an artistic sense to it. And I don't know how hard it is to start a business there or all of that stuff, what the logistics are. It just feels like if I were to choose something that would be like not working for somebody else and also helping others open up, like would be something where I would like thrive. You, meaning you. Like the idea of seeing other people get really like, like see their potential makes you want to do it more. And again, like I don't feel like I'm working for somebody else, so I get to sort of set my own everything. And it there's a freedom and an autonomy in that. And that's where I feel like you'd also thrive. Um, it's not that I don't think that you get along well with people. It's a feeling of like um, being annoyed with micromanagement, or people having rules just for the sake of having rules, which have no purpose or benefit in the system. But like they just want to have these rules. And like that doesn't always go over well. And maybe even having felt like you were treated, excuse me, like a child instead of like a grown adult with some autonomy as a problem. Hopefully that's helpful. What's your second question? You're welcome. Okay, Allie. Jessica, do you have a second question or do you want to wait? Oh, okay. No worries. Sorry. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. You have an appointment with immigration May 8th. How do you see this going? Fine. Literally textbook. It feels like there's nothing. Like it's literally just like like it's nothing. It feels like it's so easy and goes well. No snafus, like just checking all the boxes, dotting all the I's, crossing all the T's. It feels very just like, okay. Follow up on my love life question from last time. Oh, I'd like to see more about the person I'm supposed to meet soon. Okay. Um, the first thing I heard is he's busy. He's busy. Like he's just a busy guy. He's got a lot on his plate. Um, I don't know if he's like this is interesting. I don't know if he's like a restaurateur, if he owns a whole bunch of restaurants, or he consults or something. There's something with a whole bunch of like doing like maybe he goes around and helps people open restaurants. I don't know. There's something around restaurants that it's like a lot. I feel like he may travel a lot because of that. His travel feels more work related rather than being social or pleasure related. He feels very analytical, not the type of person that would be into this stuff, but not like, and not belittling of like you being into this or astrology or anything, but just it's just not his thing. So he doesn't understand it. Excuse me. He has a little bit of a dad bod. It's the feeling I get too. Like he's not a gym rat by any means. Okay. Hey, quit yawning. I can barely feel this heat. I should move it closer. Okay. And Regine, I answered yours. So, Joelle, did you want to ask a question for Jessica's third one? Sure, Kay, you can donate. I'm gonna change the Jessica, the third one, to Joelle because that's who. Rothka, what's your? Oh, you wanted a general. Um. Okay. There's someone we might go into business with, partnership with, and like you said last time, we complete each other only. I feel something is off. Just want to recheck on that and if we should do business with him. Can you give me his first name? Oh, you sent the name on Instagram. Okay. Thank you. Kay, I got your payment. Okay. Okay, Kay, I got your donation. Did you move into your new house, Rothka? I don't know. When do you move in? So I feel like it's not like I don't feel like he's going to try and steal, but I feel like he's going to try and like nudge and get a little bit more money than maybe what was originally agreed upon. So it's a feeling of like maybe you agreed upon him having like a 48% take of the money, and now he's going to be like, no, I should really have this much more. It just, that's what it feels like to me. So it feels like really needing to have to set firm boundaries with him instead of like, like that's the only feeling I get around that. Is just that kind of a like trying to take a little bit more than originally agreed upon. Does that resonate when I say that? It's like that the feeling you're getting around him. And here's the other thing. I've watched you in the circle. You have a really good intuition. And so lean into it a little bit and see if you get more about it. See if maybe you do that meditation I sent out, and if it helps you get a little bit more clarity on what it is that your higher self is kind of nudging you about. It does resonate about that. Yeah. And then like, because the feeling I get is like having to set firm boundaries around him. I feel like your dad's not as concerned because your dad's like been there, done that kind of thing. It's like dime a dozen kind of feeling. You're in a temporary place just after my birthday in June for the move into the new place. Are you guys doing work on it? Is that why you can't move in right away? I don't know how all that works there. I know you said you had to do a little bit of work on it. Oh, sorry, my ear itched. Okay, so then I've got Rothka, Allie, and Kay. Let me just see something really quick. Okay. Sorry, I was just trying to see if two of my younger ones went with their dad somewhere. It's just like, because I was like, it's very quiet. Okay. Normally a few weeks here as much as we would have loved to be there already. Gotcha. You can still donate if you want, Gia. That's when the transfer was agreed on. Gotcha. Okay. So, all right, let's look at what does Rothka need to know? So I still feel like there's this sense of like this like anxiety type of like I don't know if it's like that feeling of like waiting for the shoe to fall off or whatever they say. That feeling of like something like it's going too smooth, something's going to happen. And they're sort of like that's going to go away once you actually get into your new place. That feeling of like kind of that underlying undercurrent of anxiety. It also feels like it settles in nicer for your partner too. It feels more um there's an energy. I know it sounds stupid, but it's like of more. It's our place. Like energetically I can let down and relax and not feel like I need to be so on guard. Um I feel like you might revisit the baby stuff, but it feels like a little bit further. It doesn't feel like I'm not strong on it. I got to be honest. I don't know if that's what you wanted to hear about, but that kind of came up there. Um, does your spouse, there's an interesting feeling of around your spouse starting to do something with like rescue animals or something around that. I don't know if that resonates at all. You're probably very right about that spouse. Also, the rental we're in is okay, but it's not the most relaxing thing. Is lingering work stuff. Okay. My sense is actually that the work stuff settles in right about the same time you're moving in, by the way. It just kind of all falls together that way. Um, I feel like there's a lot of questions, even from your spouse. I don't even feel like this is from you, where it's around having a child. It's like that want to have one, but also with the like I think my sense is there's a real look at like with everything the way the world is right now, where everything going the way it is, do we really want to bring another person in? Like I feel like there's a lot of like looking at it that way. It's just thinking a lot in a different way about it right now. So it's not even so much of how this is going to affect me and my body and can we do this? It really looks like, is this really the world I want to bring a child into right now? I don't know if that resonates or if it makes sense. Sorry if that's not what you wanted to know about. I blame them. I blame the ethers. Oh, sorry. Oh, cat makes sense then. You're flying the cat over. Okay. And you're confirming what I said about the spouse stuff, I guess. So that's what I'm saying. Yes. Yeah. So I'm going to say this. If you're going to have it anyway, that's the way I feel like it happens rather than somebody actually getting pregnant and having a baby. Yeah. That feels more in line with what I would get. It's funny. I saw the cat too, so I was like, "Oh," and I didn't realize you didn't have your cat with you. So, Rothka's a good egg. She's a good egg. She's good people. Um, your nieces came up just now too. Um, okay, I've got to add Gia on. I think that's it. K and G. Oh, Molly. Molly, you snuck in there. Okay. Okay, so I've got Allie, Kay, Gia, and Molly. Okie dokie artichokes. Okay. You're very welcome. I appreciate you. Okay, Kay, I had an argument with a friend yesterday, and I'm curious as to what they're now feeling, thinking towards me and our relationship dynamics now. I don't know if I was in the wrong, but I felt controlled. Okay. Okay. Can I ask your friend's first name? Is that okay? Abby. Okay. Okay. They're giving it to you like, ooh, like there's a lot. So, Abby feels like you're in the wrong. Now, remember, just because somebody feels something doesn't mean that that's like actually the case, but it's like that feeling of like, nope, she's in the wrong. Like, so there's a standstill, uh, uh, a stalemate, if you will. But I would ask, like, well, was Kay in the wrong? And it's like, no. Um, it's that Abby's not used to having somebody set boundaries with her. And so uh, when somebody needs boundaries set, they usually aren't happy about it, right? It does feel like it'll blow over, and doesn't feel like this is a friendship ending thing. But a lot of it is also feeling you learn to not be such a people pleaser. And as you do that, you're gonna end up upsetting some people. Um, I don't know if that resonates at all. No, she crossed your boundaries, not you crossing hers. She crossed your boundaries and you set a boundary and she didn't like that. And it's not that you like she's not used to having boundaries set for her with people. And so when you set them, it was like um it ticked her off. Like, how dare you? And then it's sort of that throwing it back in your face of like, well, instead of like really looking at it and being like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I, upset you, or it's not what I want to do. Hi, Rockton. How are you? Um, Honestly, it's just wait it out is the feeling I get of waiting it out. And like it says like they make me feel like it'll blow over. But also as you start to sort of move out of being a people pleaser and sort of like holding your boundaries. So your boundaries aren't there for you to like control other people. It's just like, oh, this is my boundary. Like I'm not willing to have people like you can be mad at me, but you can't scream and yell at me. Or you can be mad at me and we can have a discussion about it, and maybe your words might get heated, but you can't call me names. Like it's knowing with what you're comfortable with. And then when somebody crosses that saying like, hey, I'm not comfortable with this. If you want to keep doing that, then maybe we need a physical separation. It's not just having a conversation. Um, so it just feels like that, like it's going to be one of those things. And then like also like recognizing it's they're sort of like stop shaming yourself for having a boundary and some self-respect. Like, that's okay. It isn't your job to just make everybody else feel better and like make, like minimize yourself so that nobody else has to like, you know, adjust or recognize that they're not the only person out there. And sometimes people snap because it's a form of like emotional manipulation. I'm very familiar with people being emotionally manipulative and, being really impulsive. I'm going to go do this right now then. Like, okay. Like, and I've learned to like, instead of allowing to be like, oh no, let me make it all better. Just go, okay, you go do that. Like, you figure that out. Because it's not healthy to constantly trying to like rescue everybody all the time. Should you stay away? I do feel like it's a sense of like kind of keeping your distance until, like letting it settle. That's the feeling again. I'll never tell you what you should do. It's just a feeling of it. It's one of those situations of like maintaining a distance. Yeah. It's not about getting worse. It's just really about this is who she is as a person. And so when you can learn to recognize who people are and like, this is the like, so I have friends that I like love and adore, but I also know that they're sort of tend to be a little bit about themselves. And like, it's like, well, you're not the person I'm going to go to for this need to be met. Like that, I'm never going to get that out of you. And the minute I let go of thinking like, this is the kind of like, it's like, I just accepted like, this is who they are as a person. And I'm not going to get certain things out of them. Like it just makes it all easier. So if you look at that friend and go, unless of course they're toxic and awful and abusive, like that's one thing. But like if you're expecting her to change and like not want things her way all the time, well then like she's probably not. So then like you just go, well, like, oh, that's what I get with her. So like if I know if I'm going to have to deal with her, like in those situations I will, and I can decline other invitations. Like I don't have to be all enmeshed in it. I don't feel like so. I think there's this idea that there's a lot of people who have there's a lot of people out there that have narcissistic tendencies, but aren't actual narcissists, right? I'm not in a place to diagnose anybody. Or who, are unhealthily self-centered. And it's okay to feel like it's the thing is like when you tend to be a people pleaser, you tend to like again where it's like, oh, okay, I'll just like, I don't want anybody to be upset. I can just suffer without whatever I need. But like to have somebody be respectful of you and your own like boundaries and stuff, that's like bare fucking minimum as far as I'm concerned anymore. And when people can't, it's like, no, I just don't have time for that. Like I'd be good all by myself if it meant I don't have to deal with like if it's my choice to either be in a relationship, friendship, romantic or whatever with somebody who can only focus on what their needs are and like cannot maintain any kind of a partnership, friendship or whatever. I am good solo forever. If it's my choice is this or solo, right? So I don't need a million friends. I'm good with just a few friends that are like quality, good people. It took me a long time to learn that. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can create a community from a smaller pool of people if it means that your peace and your sanity are maintained. And again, it doesn't mean you have to be like, I'm not friends with anybody. It's like, I'm, like when I was little, I used to say this and it's like, I would always be confused when people would be like, I'm best friends with, and there'd be like 15 people. I'm like, how are you best friends with 15 people? Like best means best. This is also my black and white thinking though. So like, I'd be like, best means best. Like, like they're your tightest person. Right. And then I would say like, I would even say like, I have acquaintances, and people are like thought I was like lessening somebody, but I'm like, I'm not really like, if you're my friend, you're my friend. And then there's like people I know and I'm friendly with, but I wouldn't say we're friends. And it doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means I don't have that bond with them. And like, that's okay to do that. Like I was teaching my daughter, she's 11, and there's a little girl she's having a hard time with. And she goes, whoa. So how do I tell her I don't want to be friends? I'm like, you don't have to tell somebody you don't want to be friends with them. You just like don't have to be like totally meshed with them. You can still be polite to them. You don't have to ever be mean to anybody, but you can also just like they don't have to be a part of all of your experiences in life either, and you don't have to invite them into that. You're very welcome. Um, it took me a long time to like I internalized a lot, and I like shamed myself for a lot, because I thought a lot of people's behaviors, and because I was such a people pleaser, that I was somehow responsible for a lot of stuff. And you're not responsible for how somebody behaves. You are responsible for your own actions and how those affect other people. But at the end of the day, you can't not hold to your own truth and honor yourself if you're always worried about how if it's going to hurt somebody's feelings. Like, you're not going to go out and intentionally, but like, if I have a boundary and that really upsets you, I'm really sorry, but I can't like constantly live my life to like make sure you're okay and I'm suffering. Okay. It's hard humaning, man. I don't know if I signed up for all that. I'm on when I you know what I mean, when I exit stage left permanently, I'm going to have a word with my higher self and take a look at that contract, because I'm not sure I wanted all the hard stuff. Because, shoot, you know what I mean? It's like a fuck. Like, some days I'm like, oh. Allie, did I answer your question? I can't remember. I got K's. Allie, are you here? Allie, can you hear me? It's not. Are you writing something dirty or awful? Did you write Christian in it? I'm kidding. I don't know what words I have like blocked out so you can't hear it. Oh my God. On my TikTok feed, I keep getting all this Christian stuff. I'm like, why? Just because I'm curious about farming or growing plants, am I now all of a sudden in the right wing ultra Christian area? Like, I don't know. Jesus is not ever coming back for me. Maybe for somebody else, but Jesus and I are good, but he's not coming back for me. Not an ultra right wing Christian, whatever. Like, I'm just not in that game. I did case. Okay, Allie, what's your question? Like, I'm more likely to like kumbaya with the aliens. That's all. Like, do you see an US the NYU one? I saw it. I do feel like you're gonna get. I do feel like they're gonna contact you, but I also feel like this is weird that you're gonna have to follow up with them. So I don't. I feel like it as soon as I saw that, I thought about when I was first up here as a travel nurse, and someone's like, "Oh, they haven't contacted me," and I was like, just fucking call those people and say like, hey, I put in my resume. I'm super interested in this job. Did you get it? I want to make sure that you have it because I'm so excited about this job. And hi, KK, I was thinking about you. Um, and that's the feeling I get is like, I need, you need to like kind of like nudge them a little. They misclassified me big time. Like, every time I have like, I don't know if it's because I say I'm a reverend. Like, I'm like, shoot, they're gonna like, I don't know why they think. I mean, spiritualism is like loosey goosey all get out. You just got to be, it's like, do unto others as you do unto yourself. You're responsible for all of your actions. There's dead people on the other side, and you can connect with them, and there's a higher power. Like, that's there's no book, there's no sacred text. We are just a journal for Molly. Yeah, so I feel like it's like you need to contact them and just say like, "Hey, I'm so excited about this job. I really just wanted to make sure that you got my resume." There's always ways to like make it like I'm really like I'm not bugging you. I'm so excited. That's what I did when I got my job at Texas Children's because it was um I was moving from Austin to Houston and well, I wasn't moving yet. That's what made me move. But I was like, I just called them and I was like, it was when they were first putting stuff online. So I was just like, hey, I turned this in. I'm gonna be in Houston for the weekend this weekend. So I was wondering, did you get my information? And they were like, no. And then like so I resubmitted and they were like, well, do you want to interview since you're gonna be in town? I was like, absolutely. So they like set up interviews for several different floors. So point being is just by me saying like I'm really looking forward to it, I'm really excited. I just wanted to make sure that this came through for you. I didn't say I feel like you're going to get the interview, but I feel like they're showing me is like don't in order to get the interview to get the job. I feel like you have to kind of make it known that you're really interested in it. And it feels like you would start in June if you do. Ooh, sorry. Didn't mean to give you a little shake. It feels like it would start in June. Uh, so that may be like interview process, and then you have to like set up and go into like hospital orientation because they usually do like a week of hospital orientation plus wherever, like, and that's just usually general for um, all staff. Again, that's why I feel like you have to like make yourself like, hey, stand out. So we're going to stop saying because manifesting works. So they got, they're going to love me. They see my application. Of course, they love me. Quick tip for job search. Okay. Find the manager, director, supervisor you will be working with on LinkedIn and express your interest there. If they put your name forward, recruiters will put you through. That is awesome. KK knows what she's talking about. Listen to her. She's a wise, wise woman. I think I just reached out to HR because I didn't know that tip. Been there, done that so many times. Hi, Debbie. So, okay. So it's not that I don't see, it's like not that I don't see the job coming. It just feels like this needs to happen in order for that to happen. So I saw something. About the power of eight, and it was somebody I follow. So I want to see, there's some book that's called The Power of Eight or something like that. But it's like if you have 8 people, you can manifest really easily. Like if there's something about that number being, I'm wondering if we should create like a manifesting group where we manifest for each other, like, but in a group because it pushes the energy more. I don't know if y'all like that idea. And I don't know that I would just like make it like a Facebook group. I just think, why not? I know I hate Facebook, but it's like, I don't know where else to make a group at. So like, okay. So this week I will I will set it up and then, hang on. Okay. I'm going to write it down in a note here. Group energy is the best. And so I feel like, and then if we like remember that it's like, we aren't playing around. I don't play around. I put that in my inspired ideas notebook. Okay. All right. Oh, WhatsApp groups work well too. But I feel like then you have to put in a phone number or whatever. And I feel like if you're already on Facebook, it might, I know you don't like the Facebook. We'll see. I also want people to feel like, so I know WhatsApp. Okay. I'm going to look at it both and see which works better. Okay. You'll go anywhere and do it. Okay. So, okay. Hang on. Jessica left a note here. Let me see. Okay. Oh, that might be interesting. A private video on YouTube where you can comment and connect, and then we update it or something. That might be a way to do it. You're locked out of Facebook? Oh. They already have like your DNA probably. I'm kidding. Okay, so that's Allie's. Gia, did I answer yours? I don't know if I answered Gia's. And then I've got Molly waiting here. Okay, I'm deciding to stick with being a makeup artist as a career. Do you see me doing well in that career field long term? I heard yes immediately. I don't think that that's where you're going to end up long term though. I feel like I actually feel like you creating your own makeup line or skincare line along with it. Because I feel like a frustration as I'm learning more about makeup and skin tone and various, like, based on age and like ethnicity and stuff like that, and just like not finding something that works well, like creating something down the line. It feels like more like the way I'm seeing it right now is like a cream stick. But that's what I see down the line. So yeah, long term I see it working well for you. Molly, where's your thing? You said something up here. You're very welcome. Just a general reading for you. Okay. Molly, last but not least, and then we'll do some general questions if you guys want to do general ones, and then I'll hop off and say adieu. Molly, do you happen to work on a farm? I don't think you actually do. I feel like this is more metaphorical, but I'm literally standing in like I'm looking into pastures that are like segregated. And the only reason I know anything about this is because I follow this woman who's a horse breeder, and I'm so fascinated by it. And she has like mini cows and mini donkeys and tiny goats and big horses and little horses. Um, but I'm seeing it like the gate being left open and there's like everything is empty. It's this feeling of like, did I do that? Did I create this void? Like, did I accidentally leave something open to where now I'm empty and lost? Like all of my most prized things are gone. I mean, I feel like this is more about emotional connections rather than, like physical loss of like goods. Like I left my front door open and my house got robbed. It feels like, did I do something to create this situation of abandonment and loneliness? I don't know if that resonates at all. And I'll keep going with it if it does. Because then I'll look for like, what does she need to do? What happened? You there, Molly? Molly. Excuse my yawn a little. It's just a feeling of like maybe you're taking stock of things and feeling like a little lost, a little like, did I leave that gate open? Did I do something to create this? You know, when we talk about like you're manifesting and you manifest your whole life and you manifest like all of your thoughts create your reality. Like, what did I do to create this feeling of emptiness? And they're sort of saying, okay, so they're like, now look at this differently. Like, if everything is perspective, they're saying, now look at this differently. Maybe it's not about leaving the gate open and letting everything disappear. Maybe it's about now my gate is open, my pastures are ready and waiting to be filled up. Um, the things that no longer served you have now exited. Um, and now you have room for growth and abundance that you didn't have in the past. I just keep getting a feeling of like you were holding on to things that no longer served you, and it's like, well, it's the feeling of like maybe you had a whole bunch of friendships up and leave and you just were like, what did I do? How did I manifest this? And they're like, no, you manifested it in like, because it's like, oh, I've been working and being positive and trying to fix everything. It's like, but I said this in my psychic development circle, like you can't say, I want this new giant piece of furniture in my house, and yet I refuse to move anything out or move anything around in order to accommodate it. Right. And so it's like things are going to shift out and get up and move in order to make things happen. So this is interesting, but I'm going to tell you this. Like, so there's a couple times in life, like if I'm not careful about how I'm manifesting, where I'm like, ugh, like one time I was like, oh, I just like want to get that freezer emptied out because my husband bought a whole bunch of stuff in there and I was like, wasn't eating it. And I was like, and then I feel guilty, like getting rid of things. That's a whole other thing. And so I was like, oh, I just want that out of it. And then the next thing I knew, our fridge broke, the freezer broke, and we had to replace it. And I was like, that's not really the way I wanted to get rid of that food in there. I was thinking about wanting like just kind of like over my front door. I don't like my front door. Don't ask. Just don't love it. And then like last week, the front door like broke. Like it closes and it locks, but you can't. I don't know how my husband actually got it open today. So I ordered a new front door handle, and I'm hoping that it fits and works well. And I bought new paint because I'm going to paint it because I may have to paint it because it's just slightly different. So like now I have a new front door, but like that's not how I wanted it or the timing of it. So it's like sometimes we think like, oh, I want all of this. It's like, and the universe goes, here you go. And it's like, oh, like I didn't, like you aren't always ready for that fallout that happens when you want to make the change. So they're sort of showing me like, just the first time I see it, I look at it like this, and it's like if you can shift the perspective to see it as like, oh, but now I actually have room, like a lot of room to let more in. And it's like, and I can be pickier and be a little bit more choosy. And maybe I want, you know, more quality in my life rather than just to have. So now I bought the paint and stuff to paint it. And now I'm going to be like, learning curve. Careful what you wish for. Listen, happens all the time to me. I'm literally very careful. I'm very careful about what I watch because I have a tendency to be like, oh, I could imagine being in that situation. And so like when people talk about cancer and stuff like that, I quick float through. Like I do not watch a lot of people's stuff about their struggles and their battles with their stuff. Like, because I do not want to sit in that energy, not even for half a second. But yeah, like that's not exactly how I wanted it. Like I already have to replace a roof just because it's old. Now I'm like, and then like if I paint my front door, I have to paint my garage door. Like, and yes, I'm painting them. I'm not paying somebody to do it. I just need to clean them and paint them. But it is what it is. I just like went online and picked out the color I liked. It's an all-in-one. It's called all-in-one paint. And that's what they advertise it as. Like you can just paint over stuff you don't have to have. So we'll see if the paint is shit, then I guess I'll be repainting it again next summer. Anyway, okay, I think we got everybody. Gia and Molly, I got yours. So is anybody want to ask any general questions about whatever's going on in the world? And I will say this, I said this at the very beginning and I'm saying it again. I saw something and I'm saying it here because I don't know exactly what it is, but I saw something. It feels like a plane incident. I don't know if it's an accident, but I saw what I think might be a Delta plane. There was like triangles, so I'm not 100% certain, but I think it might be a Delta plane. And it's on the runway, but it's like kind of like facing the grass rather than like, like parallel with, not in the runway, like parallel going the way it should be. It's like facing the grass, and there was some kind of debris next to it. And I saw like a worker truck coming up to it, like near it, doing stuff that I don't know if it's wreckage or exactly what it is, but I'm telling you this because I don't know. And because don't fly Delta right now. I don't know. That's not it. Esther, I'm just doing general readings now. I'm done with the paid readings. So these are like general, meaning not general personal readings, but like general, like world events, kind of stuff like that. And if everybody is like good, they're like, we don't really care about world events this week, then I'm good with exiting stage left, but not permanently, and going and having an afternoon. So, I feel like I've said this, like, this is where lots of the big changes coming from. They're going to keep growing. And I actually do feel like they're going to make a difference. One, because you're going to start seeing people like stupid Ron DeSantis say things like, we're going to kick him out of Florida for protesting, which is our constitutionally given right. Let me say this, the plane looked intact, so I don't know what this other part is from it. So it's like a feeling of it's going to keep growing, but it's actually going to make shifts and change happen. So I think a while ago, I don't know if anybody remembers, where I said I thought Netanyahu and some of his people would be called to task for what they're doing. There's word out that the international, I think it's called the ICC, is considering arresting him and his top people. I don't, until that happens, who knows if that's real or not. But I said that I thought that would happen for him too. Part of change is when you see all of the protests and the unrest and it coming from the reason why people are so like, because whose kids go to those universities but the elites, right? And the people who run the world, essentially. So it's kind of a big deal if those kids are saying like, what you're doing is not so right. It's going to keep spreading the energy, meaning more and more people are going to be researching and figuring out and looking up, instead of being told like, you couldn't understand this. You're just, it's been going on for years. People are going to start going like, wait a second, this isn't right either. So more and more eyes are going to become awakened and opened to what's going on. So it's just going to keep happening for a while. I'm at least 6 more weeks and I wish I could say Biden is just such an idiot right now. I wish I could say that like he's going to just have this about face change, but I actually see health issues coming up for him. And the kids are going to be okay. It's just there's going to be arrests and things, and there's going to be. I actually feel like there's going to end up being lawsuits through like the ACLU and things like that about infringement on basic rights and things like that. And I truthfully don't feel like TikTok's going to get banned, by the way. When they talk about TikTok getting banned, I don't feel like that's going to end up happening. They cannot stop people from organizing. Even if you take away all of the social media, well before social media, people were able to organize. They can't stop people from organizing. And the cat's out of the bag now. So it's not like they can go back and like be like, see, you just didn't know what was going on. It's like, no, look. And there's tons of books on it. So they're not gonna, they can't go backwards now, is the point. People gave schools money. You mean like Israel? I mean, what do you mean by that, Allie? I'm reading this book with my daughter. It's her school book. I end up reading with her because she's like, I just have a hard time focusing. And I'm like, okay, fine, but I'll read them to you. That's fine. Like she can read. She's like, well, I read them at school. So like we're basically rereading it. I don't know. Maybe she just likes the time and the connection that we have when we do this. Oh, to get their kids in. I mean, they make really big donations. Some people will make really big donations and pay for certain buildings to be built, things like that. There used to be, this was like the whole thing with like Lori Loughlin, where they would fake their kid being like, I think Lori Loughlin's husband had it set up where they were basically giving bribes in order to get their kids in schools. But there's other ways around it. So it's still happening. Okay. Any other questions? Sorry, I keep yawning. All right. Well, y'all are quiet. So, I've said this for a while. Like, I don't think Trump is going to get into office. I'm seriously wondering if Biden's going to end up being well enough. There's like maybe he gets voted in and then Kamala takes over right away. I'm not 100% sure. But big changes are going to be coming like for the long haul. It's just, it takes a lot of uprising. Like, it's absurd how horrible our healthcare system is. Like, because it's a for-profit thing, it shouldn't be for-profit as far as I'm concerned. And yet churches are like hand over fist and tax-free. In London, we are starting to react against the police for corruption. People are really wanting to defend our own rights here. Both our prime minister and Scotland are losing support. You're going to see more of that. I heard an interesting, I don't remember who the person was, but he came across my feed and he was talking about like some of the most controlling places are the ones that lead their people to believe that they're not controlling at all, but you don't realize it until you start questioning it. He does look like he's aged. I feel like he looks like he's had a ton of plastic surgery, to be honest with you. Like there's just like he just looks like he's had a lot to try and make him look younger. Do you see what the future of the consulting business will be in the US? Some major firms have been laying off employees. So my sense is that a lot of the layoffs and stuff are happening because they can't figure any other way to like keep their pockets deep and fat. Um, like instead of no longer being so greedy and be like, well, we can just keep people working. It's like they're still just trying to make more and more and more and more, more and more and more money. Um, the way I heard screeching halt because I was like, the way things are running, like as far as capitalism, are going to be coming to a screeching halt, like around 2026. I don't feel like that's like a market change. It feels like maybe new laws enacted that would say like, putting regulations on things again, like capping, like capping the amount much more that like the CEOs and stuff can make or CFOs can make. So like instead of being able to make 400,000% more than their lowest paid employees, there's some sort of cap. Taxation will come into play. There's no longer going to have all the loopholes for taxing. Things are going to start shifting, but it takes a little bit longer for that. So there's always going to be a consulting business. It's like there's just this like it feels like until 2026, it feels like things are going to be about cattywampus. I'm pulling out one of my Gami words. That's my grandmother. I called her Gami. I was like sitting at my table the other day and I was just like started crying a lot. My kids, I didn't want my kids to see. So I was like, had my back to them and I was just like my eyes were very filled with tears. I was really sad. I was just really missing my grandmother for a little bit. Even though I know she's around me, it's just, like I couldn't, I think I got really upset because I was looking at stuff about, this is weird, fake eyelashes. Cause I was like, maybe I'll try some sometime because the tips of my eyelashes are very, very blonde. So you can't really see them. And she would always she was a redhead with green eyes and she was, Irish. And she would always she's like, I'll never leave my house without earrings or eyelashes. Like this woman had macular degeneration and was like, they didn't have like, she had like basically what looked like, I don't know if you guys know what a microfiche machine is, the older ones may. And she had like one of these readers and she would read like one letter at a time and it was gigantic. She still put her damn eyelashes on. Like that woman did not leave her house without her eyelashes. So I was like thinking about that. I was trying to think about what her eyes looked like and what her eyelashes looked like that she wore. And like, they seemed natural. They never looked like big fake eyelashes. Like when people wear them now, they look so big. And I was like, they never seemed so like out of control. And then I got really sad because I could really remember what her thumbs looked like. Cause I would always play with her hands and her thumbs because I called them mashed potato thumbs. I couldn't really think about her eyes, like what her eyelashes looked like. And it made me so sad that I couldn't remember. Try the individual ones. Oh my God. This woman, like, I'm going to try and see what happens. I don't know if I have the patience for individual ones. I tried some magnetic ones and like, I'm like, they were pinchy and then they like didn't go on well. And then they just looked like I put them on blind and they were like, I don't know, they just look terrible. Not terrible. I don't know. Even psychic and some mediums miss their family and stuff. They, it's like, we know they're there. So it's like, I know you guys miss people. It's like, but it's not the same. And I get it. So, all right, I'm going to say goodnight because it's almost 6. And I've got some laundry to finish because it's the glamorous life. All of my staff has off for the day. You know how it is. So I have to go finish some laundry so my bunny has her blankets to snuggle with tonight. And I will see y'all next week. And I will work on getting a group together for manifesting because I really like this idea of having, and I think y'all are a pretty okay group of people to share my energy with. So I would love to like do something like that and work together to create our life of our dreams. Okay. All right. So good night, adieu, and I will see you next week. And if you're, maybe I'll put a thing about it in my email, like when I create the group. So if you're not um, subscribe to my email because I'll throw it in there. But I mean, I can always post a little thing about it in the community here just in case you don't see it there. Have a fabulous week. Get some sleep if you need it. Have a good one.